If you're suffering, you are obligated, in a sense, to hold on to whatever rope someone throws you. And one of the things I do with my clients all the time, especially if they're really in trouble, is to tell them, look, I don't know exactly what's going to help you, but don't arbitrarily throw out any possibilities because you might not have that luxury. So every time you move a little bit forward and something that you want happens, it says, oh, the game I'm playing is the right game. And so not only does the reward indicate progress, it indicates that the frame within which progress is being calculated is the right frame. And that's good because it's the frame that makes things irrelevant, and you want them to stay irrelevant. If you don't have a job, you're really in trouble in our society. First of all, your biological rhythms tend to go off the rails right away because there's no reason to go to bed at any particular time and there's no reason to get up. And for many people, if they don't get up at the same time, they foul up the functioning of their circadian rhythms, and that's enough to make them depressed right off the bat, especially if they start napping during the afternoon.
The best way to become successful is to wholeheartedly believe in yourself. You see, if you don't believe in yourself, then other people aren't going to believe in you. If you don't have the utmost confidence and believe that you are capable of doing anything, how in the world are other people supposed to believe in you and trust you to do things that you want to do? That's not going to happen unless you believe in yourself and believe that you can do whatever you want as long as you put your mind to it and put the time in and dedicate hours upon hours to the craft and making sure that you get done what you want to get done. Because at the end of the day, the only person you have to worry about is yourself. And you need to make sure that you trust yourself to get done whatever it is you want. And if you start out not very confident, you need to learn more information and get more experience and talk to other people that have done it before, so that way you can go back to something that you know and trust and learn and build your confidence through those different avenues so that you can eventually trust yourself, and that way other people will come to you and trust you to assist them along their journey. And that's when you know you're starting to become successful, when other people come to you for assistance or knowledge or help, because that means you've been doing the right thing for a while and they can trust you because you trust yourself.
It's incumbent on the person who has depression to do everything they possibly can in order to set it straight. And it's hard, but there's lots of potential treatments for depression that have some efficacy, and antidepressants really do work wonders on people. You could try 5-hydroxytryptamine too. You could look that up, 5-HTP. It's usually 3 times 100 milligrams. And if you try that, sometimes you can find out if antidepressants will work for you without having to resort to the antidepressants themselves.
Probably that's not the first place you should go with that piece of information. It's a comprehensive representation. It tells you what you should do every day. It kind of tells you where you're going in the future. And if something emerges as an anomaly, you get worse grade than you expected. So it's like that little grade, that bad grade, is like a portal through which snakes can crawl. And that's exactly how you respond to it, especially if you open the door too much.
You can also help the depressed person make a plan in the morning. That can be really useful, or maybe a plan the night before if they're just not in any shape to do it in the morning. To sit down and say, okay, well, you have to get through tomorrow. Sometimes in relationship to depression, Rule 12 is pet a cat when you encounter one on the street, and it's a bit of a meditation about what to do when your life is in absolute crisis.
If you're offered a gift by your society and it works, try it. I don't care what your presuppositions are. Apart from that, lots of the time when you see people who are suffering with depression, well, one of the things that you often see with people who suffer from depression, and I'm not making a blanket statement about the cause of depression because there's lots of them, is that people who don't have enough order in their life tend to get overwhelmed. As they move towards zero, positive feedback loops get set up so they're more likely to hit zero. And as they move away from zero, positive feedback loops get set up so that they're increasingly more likely to move away from zero. If you're conscientious, you're going to go after yourself pretty hard. So you're going to, and especially if you're also high in neuroticism, it's going to depress you to lose your job. And maybe you're in a situation where you just, for one reason or another, you don't have that many other opportunities. Now, maybe you should have looked for them, but maybe you're in a depressed strata of the economy, or you're geographically located somewhere that makes moving difficult. You don't want to open the door so that every possible snake comes crawling through, because that's a pathway to depression. And you actually see that happening in depressed people, is that every small event produces a cascade through their entire value system, and they end up saying, well, that's just another reason that I should jump off a bridge. And they really see it that way. all sorts of things, because lots of times people conceptualize, let's say, you know, you're an unemployed guy and you go to counseling and you get a diagnosis of depression. And the thing about a diagnosis of depression, it's sort of like the assumption is there's something gone wrong with your psychological structure. It's like if you're unemployed and you're depressed, it isn't obvious at all that the problem is in your head.
Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let us know what you thought down in the comment section below.